Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Pod Z CCG. This is Crisis.
This is Torment.
Today we have a great episode for you guys. First we're going to get into our listener emails. Then we have a DBZ question of the week. We will take another stroll down Elm Street. Have a few more Majin Molder stories. Josh stories. Then we will have our tournament report with the deck doctor being in after that. And then we get to discuss our Panini card of the week.
Oh, I can't wait.
This week we will be discussing, Orange Oradrill.
Yes.
Sounds fun, right?
Yep.
Oh, and we finally have a Facebook page. All of our fans who like us will be entered into a raffle to win free stuff. Score Z foils, Panini foils, promos. No Goku Kamehameha or Vegeta's Galaga gun. None of those. Pod Z will be back shortly. Until then, enjoy some We Got Power. Okay, so our first email comes from Justin Skull 15, Justin X Skull X 15.
Yeah, they like to put X's in their names.
Who?
The kids nowadays.
Oh, so you think this is a kid writing in?
Someone. I know Jordan likes to put X's in his names.
Maybe they're the new spaces.
Maybe.
Anyways, Justin Skull 15 writes, "Hey guys, I am also prefer the Japanese voice actors over the English counterparts.
Must be a kid."
I agree with you, Brandon, when he said the English key blasts sound forced and over dramatized. Yeah, it must be. I have a few questions for you guys, and if the kids are here, they can answer these questions as well. Well, it could be either a kid or a non-English speaker.
Yeah.
So either or, like maybe someone from Poland or Australia.
His name is Justin.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more of the skater kid type.
Oh, maybe it was Justinks, like a foreign name, Justinks Spokes.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That could be it. So his questions are, or hers, we don't know. What are your thoughts on GT? I heard you guys hissing a bit on one episode. Why the dissatisfactory taste for it? Question 2. What other TV shows do you guys enjoy? Question 3. How old are you guys?
Actually, it was myself, Brad, to comment on the English key blast. Torment, yeah. I know we sound similar. It's because we're twins, I guess. As far as your questions, I really don't like GT, mainly because it's not from Akira Toriyama, just like most of the movies are not done by him as well.
You like some of the movies, though, right?
Yeah, I like some of the movies, but they're not canon. You noticed how Jordan on last episode said he would turn Akira Toriyama into canned food?
Yeah.
Kind of stalkerish.
Yeah, it is.
He's been like on his jock like all the time.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, ooh, Akira Toriyama.
At least he's not calling him Akira Toriyama-san.
Yeah, I guess. And he's always like, if he dies, I will cry.
Oh, sounds like someone's in need of an April Fool's joke in terms of a fake news article.
But that's why I don't like it, just because it's not done by Akira Toriyama. How about you?
I really haven't seen any GT, or if I did, it was very little. There's this fighting game for the PlayStation 1 called Dragon Ball GT Final Bout, where most of my GT knowledge comes from. I don't like how Goku was a kid in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they brought back the Dragon Ball Goku or what, but comes to find out, he got wished into a kid by Emperor Pilaf.
Yep.
Okay, that's retarded.
It's dumb, yeah.
And then when he goes level 4, he's an adult all of a sudden. That's equally stupid. Just like the show, when Scorzy went to GT, it should have just ended. What? I guess it did, so.
Burn.
Yeah.
GT needs some burn heal right now. TV shows I enjoy, The Simpsons, like the first 10 seasons. This is how I think of The Simpsons. The first 10 seasons, 90% of the episodes are great. After that, only 10% of the episodes are great. So kind of reversed there.
What's up with the Harry Shearer leaving? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, Harry Shearer is leaving, Principal Skinner, Ned Flanders, among others.
The aliens. Do you know why he's leaving?
I think money issues. I don't know. I didn't look into it. South Park's a good one.
I heard he touched Bart.
He touched Bart. South Park's a great one. As the seasons go on, they seem to kind of get good too. Breaking Bad, of course, and Game of Thrones right now.
I like Daredevil on Netflix. That was hecka awesome. We're 33?
Yep, 33 years old.
I always forget. I say 32 or 33 or 34.
Yeah.
Even though the math is pretty easy to do, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah. Jordan is 15, Samuel is 11, and Logan is 8. Next question. Dark Knight 283 writes, "Hey guys, I found you on iTunes and binge listened to all your episodes. Episode 5 was by far my favorite. Episode 1 and 2 were a little slow for me, but I'm glad I stuck with it. I'm thinking about starting my own podcast. Any advice?" Well, first, thank you for the feedback, and thank you for sticking with us through this first grueling episodes. Actually, Jeremy123 from Top Tier mentioned something similar about this on the Top Tier boards. Okay, so you want to start a podcast. You want to make sure your pod is something that you're passionate about. You want to try to make it entertaining and be professional. Usually teenagers just goofing around on the mic for an hour may turn a lot of people off. It may work for iCarly, but not everyone else.
Do they do a podcast?
They do a video cast.
In real life?
No, on the show.
You watch iCarly?
The kids watch it. Make me sound like a creep.
Hey kids, it's time for iCarly, right? Why are you eating popcorn? I'm not. This is just my snack.
Make sure you DVR it. You and your partners, if you have more than one person doing your podcast, which I would suggest, also need to have great chemistry together. Something else is when you edit the podcast, patience is a virtue. Don't rush the editing process. You will regret it when you listen to it and notice all your mistakes. Saying that, it doesn't have to be perfect either. It may take you a few episodes to get into your groove. You got anything to add to that?
No. Just surprised that you watch iCarly.
I really don't. I mean, I've seen a few episodes because the kids had it on and I was too lazy to move.
Did you make spaghetti tacos?
Oh, heck yeah, I did.
That was a trap. I knew you watched that show.
That's an iCarly reference in a Podsy CCG episode. Okay, feel free to email us if you have any other questions about podcasting, Dragon Ball Z, or whatever. You just might make it on the air, just like Justin, Skull, and Dark Knight.
I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get a follow-up email from last episode asking about Monster Bill and his orange deck.
Oh yeah, from Daryl Culver?
Yeah, I kind of would have liked to hit some feedback on that as to why he doesn't run orange. So if you're out there, I'm actually interested, so let us know what's going on.
Yeah. Time for our Dragon Ball Z question of the week. What is your favorite mastery from World Game Saga? When you posed this question, I was like, what's he trying to do?
Yeah, even when I thought about it, I started thinking back, and I barely knew what most of those masteries did. I think I kind of knew what blue did, kind of knew what red did. Saiyan I kind of knew too, but the others, I knew nothing about it. This set was probably the second most meaningless set in Squaresy behind Bobbity. The only saving grace that kept it from 11th place is the introduction to the Senseis and the Sensei decks. Even now when I did this count how many sets there were, I was like, Saiyan, Frieza, Trunks, Android, Cell Games, Bobbity, nope, World Games, Bobbity, Boo, Fusion, Kid Buu. I always forget World Games 9 out of 10 times. Not always, but...
And that's the first set we actually foil limited to completion first, right?
Yes, because when I saw these foils on pre-release, I saw like the Goku level 4 foil, and just the edge of his hair had the little bit faded of the foil pattern. I said, this foil pattern is so sorry, I'm going to do this one first. And it was, and it sucked. Most of the foils sucked. There's only like 3 good ones. Goku's Blinding Strike, Majin Vegeta, the Dark Prince
The
level
Dark
1,
Prince, yep.
and I don't know.
PyCon level 5?
No, that's stupid. Maybe Evil Presence Drill. No, World Tournament, because just the sign is foil. That was tight.
Is that the one where the Capsule Courthouse, just the roof is foil?
Yeah.
It's hecka dumb.
Yeah. So the 7 masteries, I'll list them all out here. For Black Style Mastery, all your attacks gain if successful, discard a drill in play. All your Black Style physical attacks gain if successful, you may discard a non-combat card instead. That's pretty good if you're going against control, non-combat heavy decks, orange decks, but that's pretty much it. Blue, all your energy attacks you perform do +1 life card of damage. All blue style energy attacks gain, if successful, raise your anger 1 level. I guess Blue Dragon's Victory is what they're going for, paired with the King Cold level 2 villain invasion subset.
I think what they were trying to do was reverse the mechanic of every set. Like, blue was red and red was blue.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Saiyan was energy instead of beat. It's hecka dumb.
Freestyle. Oh, Freestyle.
Oh, I forgot about Freestyle.
It had the ugly... It was like a brown-orangish card. It was so ugly. When entering combat, remove the top card of your discard pile from the game. If it's a named card that matches your main personality, name a non-Dragon Ball card. Your opponent searches his life deck and discards a copy of that. It would be awesome if that was banished, but it wasn't, and so it was sorry. Namekin, when entering combat, draw the bottom card of your life deck. If it is a Namekin-style card, you may show it to your opponent and draw another card from the bottom of your life deck. Orange, all your physical attacks do +2 power stages of damage. If you perform a successful orange-style attack, all your other physical attacks you perform for the remainder of combat do an additional +1 life card of damage. So this could get pretty stacked with life cards if you keep performing successful attacks. Red, when you perform an energy attack, lower your opponent's anger 1 level. If your opponent stops one of your red-style energy attacks, he discards the top 2 cards of his life deck. And I love how they make it gender specific here and do him and not him or her.
That's hecka funny.
Saiyan, when entering combat, draw a card. If it is a Saiyan style card, you may show it to your opponent and prevent 4 power stages and 4 life cards of damage from the first attack performed against you. Otherwise, prevent 4 power stages of damage from the first attack performed against you. Reading through them, they seem halfway decent. Black is okay. Red is okay. It's like a built-in Geast we talked about before. I remember building a Goku Freestyle before Goku Freestyle was a thing. I only played it once, and do you remember where?
I don't.
It was in the McDonald's inside of a Walmart.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and that's like the only time I played it. I thought it was going to be kick-ass, but it was kick-butt. It sucked. What about you? What's your favorite?
The thing I didn't like about World Games is it seemed to want to change everything up. I hate this set the most out of every set, just like you. I actually know that you hate it just for the fact that Score decided the Celestial Hero Paikuhan could declare Namekian Tokiwaza.
Yeah, but he couldn't play Namekian Heritage cards. And I can't believe someone at our game shop a few months ago tried to convince me that Paikon was Namekian.
Was it Kool-Aid Man?
No, it wasn't. But he said, I think what he is a fighter type of Namekian and not a mystical type like Piccolo and Kami. Like Nell was a fighter type, and he didn't look like Paikon with the Martian head.
Yeah. With all that being said, Namekian Style Mastery was my favorite. Hands down, when entering combat, draw the bottom card. If it's Namekian, draw another card.
Of your life deck.
Yeah. That card was great. You could set up the bottom of your deck with rejuvenating, and you could get an incredible advantage with Pycon, Cell, Piccolo, Slug, whoever. They had that Namekian card that was the physical attack that remained 2.
Namekian combo.
Yeah.
What was it? Physical attack for 3 power stages remain 2?
Yep. Yeah. That paired with Who's the Man?
Heck yeah.
Heck of tight.
So when we come back, we're going down Elm Street, and we have some more stories featuring our favorite maniac, Josh Mulder. So don't go away. Pod Z, CCG will be right back. So who's your Elm Street for this week?
So my Elm Street, I named them Jan Brady. We all know Jan Brady to be the biggest whiner in all of TV history. Jan is the middle sister of the Brady Bunch and constantly complains that her hotter sister, Marcia, gets all the attention.
Marcia.
Deservingly so.
Deservingly so. The Jan Brady at the comic shop constantly complains about the meta.
The local meta, too. Not even the meta that's been put out there on the interwebs.
The Jan at our shop would always whine every time he got paired up against a blue deck. He would spout things off throughout the match like, block, block, block.
Marcia.
Everybody loves blue because they could block everything. Or, Ginyu.
Marcia.
I'm sick of Ginyu and how much attention he gets. And I think at that time, I was the only running a Ginyu deck. The crazy thing is, though, Jan never changes their deck to counter the meta and still whines every time they lose a match.
Marcia.
It got to the point that he was so annoyed with it.
At our local shop, our Jan Brady,
he stopped coming to tournaments. Remember that?
Yeah, he got second place one time. I think that was at the time you didn't show up.
I think so.
I got first and he got second. He won a confrontation. He was playing Black Krillin, but I was playing Blue Piccolo at the time. And I balled out, or got all my balls out every game at that tournament.
Yeah, he was all chummy with us to start out. He had great potential to become a great player.
We gave him hecka free cards, too.
We did. He even recognized your Berserk tattoo.
Yeah, I have a Berserk tattoo on my neck, the Brand of Sacrifice. And we gave him 3 Destructo discs, and I was like, hopefully this will keep him coming back. But he took those Destructo discs and ran.
Yep. He got all butthurt with all the black and blue decks that kept entering the tournaments.
But he was playing Black Krillin, and this was before, like, the Black Krillin explosion.
Yeah.
I think he even had the Comic-Con promo.
Yeah.
And he still couldn't win with it.
Yeah. He felt like he was the only one who should have been able to run a Black Krillin deck. Even Monster Bill had enough of his whining. Remember that? Jan said, "I'm so sick of these Ginyu decks." Monster Bill then said, you can play Ginyu too if you want. He just can't declare Saiyan style. I can help you build a deck if you want. Chalk one up for Monster Bill.
Burned by Monster Bill.
An unintentional burn. Because he's so helpful. He wants to help everyone and he loves deck advice.
Yeah.
Monster Bill's great. How about your Elm Street character?
Minkus Dinkus.
What's a Minkus Dinkus?
I don't know. That's the first thing that came to my head. I was so irritated when I came up with this virtual character. Virtual because he's mainly seen on the internet. I came up with this virtual character on Elm Street, and I just thought of the most pretentious, know-it-all-y name I could think of. Minkus Dinkus. Minkus from Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
The know-it-all.
Minkus.
This guy hails from the nether tethers of cyberspace. He sits back, reads rulings on cards, and tries to outthink a great collection of minds that play DBZ for years. Just because a ruling really kills his deck. With a whopping 3 posts under his belt, watch out, on top tier, he starts getting in the mood. He puts on his non-prescription bifocals, throws on his skinny jeans, his skinny pants. He slings on a freshly ironed scarf around his neck, grabs his Indiana Jones replica fedora from his hat rack, and gently pulls it onto his skull before pulling the front down just a tad so that he could still look down through his bifocals and ask questions like, "Hey, you want to act out a script I made?"
You actually made a script?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Alright, hold on. Here, take this. So I'll be Minkus Dinkus. You'll be someone from the board that is trying to generally help new players.
Okay.
Okay, so this is me, Minkus Dinkus, sitting at my computer with all my garb and everything that I just put on.
Your scarf?
Yeah, my scarf and my hat pulled down to look hecka cool in front of no one. Hello, top tier. I run a really nasty black Krillin deck. I have a question about Krillin Destructo Disc. I pull it first turn and hit my opponent for 85 life cards of damage. He says that I could only do 5 life cards of damage in one power stage. Who's right?
I read the part that says you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Krillin's Destructo Disc says that this is an energy attack doing 4 life cards of damage. You get a +1 power stage and +1 life card from your mastery. So due to the calculation, your opponent is right.
But this completely kills my strategy. The card does not say that I can't do... I wonder if I could change my voice. Like, how would he sound? But this would kill my strategy. The card does not say that I can't do 85 life cards of damage. I'd like to see Panini come back on a ruling about this. It's quite fuzzy. Can someone send an email about it for me?
I don't understand. The card says it does 4 life cards of damage. How are you calculating 85? You have to calculate the damage that is printed on the card with your modifiers present. If you look at page 12 of the rulebook, it advises how energy attacks work.
Yes, but the card doesn't say I can't do 85 life cards of damage. If you look at page 3 in the CRD, it says, effects with stipulations. Cards that have a stipulation to perform an effect require that stipulation to be met in order for the effect to occur.
Your reference does not make sense to your initial question.
I'd still like clarification for Panini about this because it's a bit fuzzy. End scene. So this conversation took place on the ruling forums, but it wasn't about Krillin's Destructo Disc. It was something completely different, but so obvious. It was so... I hate to be mean here, but it was retarded how this guy tried to make it seem like if you draw 2 balls with Raditz power, you don't banish one. I mean, it wasn't about that at all. It was something completely different, right?
To protect his identity.
Yeah, Mr. 4 Posts trying... right.
He's up to 5 now.
Maybe up to 6, asking for that clarification if the email ever came through for Panini. Or from Panini. So this ends our Elm Street segment. Stay tuned for some Josh stories. We'll be right back.
Okay, for our Josh stories, we are actually renaming this segment Majin Molder Stories, since most of the stories have evil tendencies behind them. Plus, that was Josh's online fanatics name, right?
Yeah, Majin Molder.
Yeah.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, if you got... I saw there was some excitement about these stories. So, we've got years of stories we could put into this segment, so...
You guys don't even know. So, Brandon, let's go ahead and talk about your first one.
So, hot on the heels of the regionals fiasco discussed in the last episode, Josh's dad and wife were going out of town on vacation. I think they were going to Hawaii or Egypt or something. Their house was decorated in all Egypt decor. Like there was this eyeball, an Egyptian eyeball, and his dad asked me, "Do you know what this is?" And I said, "No, I don't." He said, "This is the Eye of Horus." I said, "Oh, okay." And then a few weeks later, he asked me the same thing. I said, "Yeah, that's the Eye of Horus." He's like, "You know this too?" And I didn't want to say, "Yeah, you told me like 2 weeks ago." But anyway, since they were going on this vacation, they asked if I would house sit for the week. that they were gone and make sure Josh went to school since he was still a minor and he was still in school, high school. So Babidi Saga had just released and the parents left that Saturday. So that night I went to Abrams to pick up a box. I made my way over to Josh's house and his parents left money for food. So we went up to the store and picked up some stuff for burgers to cook on the grill that night. We had invited 2 other Dragon Ballers over at the time, John and Passam. We call him Passam because his name is Sam, with a silent P, but he's Persian. Most people call him Sam, so we call him Passam. During the box opening, we were all blown away by the subset promos that we were pulling for the Super 13 movie. This is when I fell in love with this Training Spirit Bomb move I talked about a while ago. I guess Josh was trying to show some kind of dominance with his next move. As I was sorting the cards like I love to do.
And Passam and John were there too?
Yeah, they were sitting there looking at all the cool cards. And he snuck up behind me and smacked a burger patty against my cheek. Like, where is this coming from? Did he think he was auditioning for CKY or Jackass? What would you have done if you were me?
I would have decked him.
Where would you have hit him?
In the chest.
You couldn't do that. He had a heart defect, apparently. He had
Serious?
Yeah, he had a hole in his heart.
A murmur?
Something.
Majin Murmur?
You know what I did?
What'd you do?
I turned around and hit him right in the dick and balls. Hard. I hit him so hard. I mean, who was this kid to hit me in the face with a hamburger patty? And he was laid out for a dramatically long time, like 5 to 10 minutes. And he kept like rolling around on the floor, like, holding his stuff. I'm probably going to piss blood. Like, maybe if I hit you in your kidney or your bladder, but not if I hit you in your testicles. So I think he was looking for attention or someone to say, "Are you alright?"
You guys are just like, you shouldn't have hit him with a raw meat patty.
Yeah. I just continued sorting my cards.
Sick. With raw meat on your face?
No, I cleaned the burger off. So the next day, we went to Sizz. Oh, no, you know what he did? It was around 11:30 or 12, and I was hecka tired. So I was laying on the couch, and Passam and John were still awake, because they stayed up, like,
Till 4 o'clock.
Yeah. And so I was really tired, so I laid down on the couch, and then I hear laughing, and I kind of opened my eyes, and he had a hot dog sticking out of his pants up to my face. I don't know why that was funny, but I pushed him away, and then he came up again a few minutes later, was rubbing it on my mouth, on my lips. I guess that is pretty funny.
What's even funnier is it wasn't a hot dog.
No, and like I hate the taste of raw hot dogs or cold hot dogs. So I deck him again. Like I give him a little icicle, a little tap on the nuts, and he falls down, and I fall asleep. So that's when we wake up the next day, and for dinner we go to Sizzler or Red Lobster, whatever's around there. And this caused Josh to get food poisoning. I did the air quotes. I know this isn't a visual podcast, but I did air quotes. This didn't go over well with his parents when they got home because Josh stayed home for the whole week of school. When his parents got back, they had about 5 missed calls from the school on their answering machine, advising Josh's truancy. We advised them of Josh's sickness and that we had got a refund from the restaurant for his illness, which we did get. I think he was faking sickness. Well, I know he was faking it, but I thought he was serious at first, so I called the restaurant. I was like, your food made him sick, and we need a refund, so they gave us a refund. We had to go up there. And Josh's dad was content with this answer, and he let us off the hook. But to be fair, I did wake him up every morning to go to school, but he just never went.
Yeah.
What about those orange ski masks? Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Why did you buy those again?
Well, since you started working nights at Domino's, we wanted to entertain you since you couldn't hang out with us any longer. we decided to go to Walmart and buy ski masks and pretend to rob Domino's. We wanted black ski masks, but they only sold bright orange ones, I guess for hunting.
Yeah, for hunting.
Hunting safety.
Yeah.
We were disappointed, but decided to buy the orange ski mask. Orange was better than nothing. Well, I guess now orange is the new black. So we made the purchase and drove up to the Domino's. We get out of the car and put the ski mask on.
And it was at nighttime?
It was at nighttime. You could only see our eyes at this point. We would tiptoe past the window while looking at you. Then run back and peek our covered faces past the wall so you could see us through the window.
And how long did it take me to notice this?
I think like 5 minutes.
So you were doing this for 5 minutes without me noticing you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the way it worked, Domino's, we just had a register and a bench for the lobby. There was no dining, so we faced outwards towards the window so we had a huge window so we could see the ongoings outside.
I remember at one point Josh held his hand in his jacket pocket to look like he had a gun.
Oh, that's horrible.
It was hilarious, but only to us. I want to say that you weren't laughing. I think you had customers too, but they couldn't see us. Their back was to us.
I think one of them did turn around when he had his hand in his pocket and looked kind of scared. And then when she turned around and looked at me, and then I started laughing because Josh took his hand out of his pocket and was humping the glass.
Yeah.
So that kind of broke the tension with the fake gun. The customer looked back and saw it, and she was not amused, but she wasn't worried anymore.
Yeah, he was humping the glass like Jay on Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah. And didn't Mom call you? Like, didn't she find them or something?
Yeah, Mom found out. She found him in the trunk of your car. And she called me at work. Which I thought was odd because she never called me at work. And she sounded like she saw a ghost. She said, "Are Josh and Brandon robbing banks?"
Oh, jeez.
And I did not know. We bought them to scare him at the Domino's, but they actually served another purpose as well, which we'll get into later on.
Yeah, another story.
Another story for another time, unfortunately. So, one last story for you guys. This was just myself and Josh, Brad and Josh. Josh called late one night. This was during the time when I wasn't hanging out with you guys as much as I used to. Josh called and said, "Hey, do you want to go on a drive and just talk? Maybe go Irwin hunting?" That's when we would go look for the Irwin promos and buy some toys and get the promos. I said, "Sure."
Irwin cards were Score Z promos that there were 38 of them that only came in Irwin toys, maybe.
You know, I wasn't doing anything else that night, so I picked him up at a bus stop on Watt Avenue.
Of course.
It was about 8 o'clock at night, so it was dark. I was driving down Watt Avenue and got in a turn lane to turn left onto Elkhorn Boulevard.
At this point, have you guys started talking?
No.
Oh, okay.
No talking. The lights were red on our side and everyone was stopped. A Ferrari was coming up to the lane next to us on the right to go straight. So Josh rolls down the window. I think nothing of it. Silly me, right? The lights turn green. I start my turn. Then all of a sudden... Now guys, I'm going to stop the music here. This is a turning point in mine and Josh's friendship. This is important. I hear splat. I shouted, "Josh, what the hell did you just do?" Josh had snuck a raw egg in his hoodie pocket and threw it on the driver's side window of the Ferrari. He was laughing maniacally. So evil. I finished my turn onto Elkhorn, and I see the Ferrari racing beside me. So they got over and were honking, speeding up next to me, racing beside me. I did not look over. I couldn't. I was way too scared. I floored it. Josh kept shouting, "Speed up."
Speed up.
I was in a Chevy Cavalier, so there was no way I was outrunning this Ferrari. I have a blaring horn in my left ear, and Josh yelling "speed up" in my right ear.
Speed
But I couldn't think straight.
up.
I had the pedal to the metal, but I was only going 60 miles per hour on an empty street. The Ferrari was edging closer to me, invading my lane. They did not stop honking. All of a sudden, his side mirror hit my side mirror, and then he felt satisfied and drove off.
So he damaged his $59 billion car to hit your, 20,000 minivan? Were you in the van?
No, Chevy Cavalier.
Oh, okay.
The neon blue Chevy Cavalier.
Okay.
Josh then muttered, "You should have just slowed down."
You should have just slowed down.
I gave him an evil stare. I dropped Josh back off at the bus stop. That's the last time I hung out with him, which put a strain on Brandon and mine's relationship because Brandon was attached to the hip with Josh at that time. I tried to warn him, but he wouldn't learn his lesson until much later.
Oh, let's just say it involves a hamburger and Domino's sweet icing paired with a bicyclist
And a cop. We'll be right back with our tournament report, Deck Doctor, and our Panini card of the week, Orange Aura Drill. Tournament report at Abrams, May 11th, 6:30 p.m. Only 5 participants this time. I'm going to get kind of creative with the deck names. Scott was playing Saiyan Vegetables. Dylan was playing Black Sunny Straight. Brandon, Black Godku.
That's not very original.
Jordan, Black Swimsuit Bottoms.
Oh, Trunks.
Yep. And I was playing Blue Dairy.
Oh, yeah, Milky Cannon.
Milky Cannon. Round 1, Brad versus Jordan. Blue Ginyu versus Black Trunks. I really do have to hand it to Jordan. He really tried to do everything to win this game. He never gave up. He made it to Trunks level 2 with Sword Stance. Jordan did make a funny play though. He made me laugh. I entered and he looked at my top 4 of my deck with Trunks' power. Then he used Sword Stance. I said, you could have looked at your top 4, right? He said, oh, I thought I could only look at yours. I said, you're still going to use it? He said, yeah. I'm just going to try to guess what's on top of my life deck. That made me laugh. He guessed Confrontation, but it was Black Energy Web. And he looked through all his cards in his discard pile and banish pile too to try to guess. So he missed it. I would have held on to it for next turn because Trunks level 3 is so good. The only other thing that sticks out is I had half of my deck left and he had 8 cards. He entered and used Black Scout. He was looking through my discards and banish zone thoroughly, trying to pick out a card that he could hit me with. After what seemed like 2 or 3 minutes, I said, I'll help you out. I named all the cards in my life deck that I had 2 or 3 of and let him pick one. A few turns later, I was victorious. Round 2, Brad versus Dylan. Blue Ginyu versus Black Krillin. Oh man, I was so nervous going into this. Not because it was Black Krillin, but because as soon as we sat down, I remember the vow that I had made on episode 3. Do you remember what the vow was?
Never lose to Black Krillin again.
That's right. So in my mind, my mindset going into this was enter combat, use Ginyu to get a useless ally, Frieza or Raccoon, so he'll just crit it away. And the reason why I did this was he was playing non-San Diego Comic-Con, so if he used it 2 times with my mastery, I could possibly get him to level up before he could crit my good allies.
Mm-hmm.
So I Ginyu, and before I even declare who I'm going to get, because it's a secondary effect, he says, okay, for how much? I don't have a block. I said, 4 life cards. This changed things. I could let anyone take control of combat now and decided to get Jace for another 5 life cards. You don't want to let your opponent know that you don't have any blocks in your hand. He isn't the kind of player to bluff or lie. So then I thought if I could get an early start by hitting him with a few energy attacks and block everything else except for his discs, I should be in good shape. So I trusted my instincts and got Jace. I was right, Jace hit. Then he Krillins to end up critting Jace, as expected, but Jace did his job this turn. Thank you, Jace. I hit him with an energy attack, and we passed next 2 combats. Nothing happened. He got Smooth Neutral out, which sucks. A few non-combats. After we passed a few more combats, I know I want to get Nappa out, but he enters and black searching techniques me.
Did he get Nappa?
No, he gets Goldo and Time is Warder's tool. I haven't used Time in the past 2 tournaments or so I'm getting used to not being able to play it anyway. I was surprised he didn't grab Nappa though. I Ginyu for Nappa, and then I'm getting sick of his Smoothless Drill, so I Blue Terror to get Blue Betrayal and get rid of Smoothless Drill. He then Krillins, then I use Blinding Energy move to save Nappa. The only other thing I remember about this match is he had 7 cards left and drew his 3 on his turn, and I was expecting a combat. He then dropped 2 allies and a setup. He said, "That sucks, I pass." He didn't even rejuvenate. I still had 20 life cards left. I drew my 3 and passed. He then drew 3 and scooped. Awesome.
Yep.
Round 3, Brad versus Scott. Blue Ginyu against Saiyan Vegeta. Scott seemed excited for our rematch. He said, "Ginyu, we meet again." This match's outcome is very obvious though, something you should expect. It was no contest. Ginyu did incredibly well against the Saiyan deck. First turn I throw it on Frieza, he rolls his eyes. His turn he drew 2 setups, Intimidation and Enraged I think, and passed. I then drew Nappa, he rolled his eyes again, got irritated. By mid-game, my life deck towered over his. The attacks that he did hit me for, I enduranced him away. The final combat went like this. I drew Body Switch, Draining Blast, and blocks. I had Jace, Goldo, Frieza, and Nappa out. I Ginyu to get Raccoon, he attacks, I block. I Body Switch, he attacks, I block. I Ginyu for his level 2 power. He said, "What are you, 8 above now?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Good, your allies are shut off." He used Saiyan Pinpoint to get rid of Nappa. I then start draining Ginyu's power stages for Draining Blast, and before I get to 0, he already knows what's happening to him. He lets out, "You've got to be kidding me."
You've got to be kidding me.
He takes 8 life cards of damage, and then I Jace to win.
Cool. So you got first place?
First place, Blue Ginyu. Second place, Saiyan Vegeta.
Yep. So the deck I ran was pretty fast. I only had 20 cards in it that weren't attacks and only ran 7 blocks. I wanted to cut down on the dead draw potential and focus on physical beatdown. First round was Scott against Saiyan Vegeta. The only anger tech in this deck were 2 wall breakers and 3 devastating blows. We went back and forth, but he eventually got to level 3 and just killed me. Round 2 I get the awful bye. Round 3 is Dylan Black Krillin. I win the die roll to go first and draw into Black Enraged Assault, Blinding Energy move, and Black Fist Lock. I knew his deck was very ally / non-combat heavy. So I entered combat. Apparently he drew into Black Enraged Assault, Smoothness Drill, and some random setup. I can't remember which one. I used my 2 physical attacks and God Piece Power to get another physical attack. Next turn he plays his Smoothness Drill and passes. Then I draw a Smoothness Drill, I pass. Then every combat after that is entering combat. I love hitting with Black Godku and dropping Krillin down to 0 in 1 hit. He wasn't able to perform any of his energy attacks, and then I was able to pull off the win.
Tight.
So we'll be back with our Deck Doctor and Panini Card of the Week, Orange Oradro, so stay tuned. Okay, so this Deck Doctor comes from TIE Fighter X-Wing. I need help. I always come in 2nd or 3rd in my local tournaments. I never get the top spot. I run Black Krillin and seem to always lose to Namekian Piccolo or Godku. I know it's a broad question, but do you have any tips with going up against difficult / veteran players? Well, there are 2 types of veteran DBZ players. Good vets and collector vets, which I think are bad vets, like people who's in it for the collection and just play to get promos and stuff. Good vets hardly make any play mistakes, and a neat trick is to catch them off guard, I would say. If they see you playing the same deck week in, week out, they're going to keep bringing the same deck to beat you, so just change it up. Why not switch to Red Krillin and go for Anger?
Yeah. Veteran players hardly ever make mistakes. I know it sounds cliche, but you really do have to think 2 or 3 steps ahead of your opponent and always think about the worst possible scenario. Use your gut too. Earlier I mentioned a move where I trusted my gut and believed Dylan didn't have a block when he mentioned he didn't. You have to think like your opponent. There are good players and great players. I will give you a few examples on the differences between the two and hope this will help you out. Note, some people may say that the behaviors found in the following examples of the good player might constitute a title for bad player. I feel there are no bad players, just good players and great players. If you play the game and you know the rules, you're a good player. The good player knows the rules, knows the cards, has a decent deck, but then the great players take that extra step. It's hard to explain what that extra step is because it's something that just comes natural. You have to know how to read people. Scott is a prime example of this. He always knows what I have in my hand and he's only played me 3 times. Scott is a great player. Great players won't say, I don't have any blocks. Instead we will say, I have to take this, or just simply, I'll take it. Do you see the difference in saying I will take it instead of, okay, I have no blocks? If Dylan confidently said, okay, I'll take it, I probably would not have grabbed Chase that one turn and stuck with my original plan. But because I picked up on his tail, it was an easy decision. If Scott had been playing with that Black Krillin deck, I'm not sure I would have been victorious. Good players will keep an attack or an unblock in their hand when discarding down to 1 after being entered on. Great players will keep that visiting the past and throw it down on their turn to grab time. Good players will use Blue Betrayal to banish a useless ally that I get out first turn. Great players will hold on to that Blue Betrayal until Goldo or Jeese comes out to play. Good players will block every attack thrown at them as they come. Great players decide the risk of taking attacks and saving blocks for other attacks in the combat. Good players show disappointment when drawing a dead hand. Great players show no emotion when drawing a good hand or a bad hand. Good players act swiftly with little thought. Great players take time with their actions even when they know what card they're going to use. They may take a little bit of extra time to throw off their opponent. Good players play orange decks.
Oh, that's not fair.
I know, kidding. I know Matt Ribeiro plays an orange deck, and I believe he's a great player, but orange is just so easy to win with because of all the damage modifiers.
I guess that's a great segue. We could go into our Pansy card of the week. Orange Oradrill.
Nope. We ran out of time again.
Come on, we could just take a few seconds to discuss this Orange Oradrill.
Nope. We don't have time. I edit this podcast. We have to either talk about this Orange Oradrill or cut some time off Rock the Dragon.
I'm sure our listeners would much rather hear some Rock the Dragon. So until next time, keep rocking the dragon.